What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. Time to recap Monday Night Football. The Ravens beat the Saints 27-13, but we've also got to first get to a much more exciting event that occurred on Monday night. The Jim Irsay press conference introducing Jeff Saturday as the new interim coach for the Indianapolis Colts. Joining me to do just that, Ryan Wilson and John Breech. What's up, fellas?
Hey, Breech, what was your favorite sentence that left the mouth of Colts owner Jim Irsay during that wild as all get out, all over the place press conference that started at 8:20ish p.m. Eastern time during a Monday Night Football game?
When he started talking about sausage, I got hungry. So
that was it.
I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage, but I do know how to build a football team.
How can you not know how to make sausage?
Or what goes into it?
But also the whole point is like, I don't want to, like, I thought he was like I don't want to show you what goes into the making of the sauce. The making of the sausage is like an analogy for how like if you were talking about how to build a football team, be like, listen, sometimes the making of the sausage isn't pretty.
You don't want to see how the sausage is made. Just let me do my job.
Like you can't say I don't know how the sausage is. That's not it doesn't make sense as a
He
thing.
either botched the analogy or he doesn't know how to make sausage, and neither one is good.
I think he doesn't know how to make sausage.
My favorite one was when Irsay was telling people that you don't know how much the Colts win because they got quartiles on quartiles, baby.
We're the fourth winningest franchise in the league since 2000. All right, that means in the upper quartile of winners, we're in the top quartile of that upper quartile. That's rare.
It gets me I watched it 1,000 times tonight, and it gets me every time. We're in the upper quartile since 2000. We're in the upper quartiles of winners. It like that takes into account essentially the entire Peyton Manning era in Indianapolis, ignoring like the last 10 years when they've been fine.
Brian J. also notes his quote about wanting a coach without experience was delicious. That also was quite funny.
Brinson,
A winning coach, a winning playoff coach, a winning coach that was proven to come in with our franchise. Now, I'm glad he doesn't have any NFL experience. I'm glad he hasn't learned the fear that's in this league. That's because it's tough for all our coaches. They're afraid. They go to analytics, and it gets difficult. I mean, he doesn't have all that. He doesn't have that fear, and there was no other candidate. We were fortunate that he was available.
You know what that sounds like a little bit, Brinson? When we did the Matt Rule Fired podcast, it sounds like the original quotes in a different form from David Tepper about he's a fat guy who wears baggy pants and sweats a lot.
Yeah, he's like, I'm glad he doesn't have any experience. He's like, he was not afraid of analytics.
But what other job would you do? Imagine like you get on a plane and they're like, yeah, this pilot doesn't actually have any experience, but I'm happy about that.
He's not afraid of crashing.
Right. He's good to go. Don't sweat this flight. Like, what are you doing?
He's also citing quartiles and top quartiles. He's like, analytics sucks.
I was waiting for Jeff Saturday in that last clip that Billy just played to sort of slide it in Collinsworth style and says, I'm sitting right here. I can hear you.
We don't have this clip, but there was a moment when Jeff Saturday, they're like, no offense, Jeff. And it's like, these are all guys who like covered Jeff Saturday too, by the way. They're like, no offense, but like, do you think you're ready? He's like, listen, when Jim Irsay called me about this job and offered me this job, I said, are you sure? He's like, are you sure I'm a candidate? Like, as in like, really?
Did you dial the right number?
Yeah, me? How many times do you think Peyton Manning had to turn him down before?
Sam Bruce Smith asked that question. And thanks for stealing this question, by the way, without attribution. How much do you think he begged?
Stealing Sean Payton's question, but sure.
How much do you think he begged Peyton to coach Indy?
I'm
either
sure
Sean Payton or Peyton Manning. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
I'm guessing he calls Peyton 3 times a day. Can you come coach a team? Calls Andrew Luck 4 times a day. Hey man, can you come back?
Well, he crapped all over him too.
Yeah, he took a shot at Andrew Luck in that press conference too. He said,
Still bitter. He's still bitter.
But he was trying to explain how he's such a winner. He's like, we win. He's like, I've got like, he's like, things change. He's like, I've never 27 years never had a quarterback retire in his prime. It's like, this is unnecessary. He also made a reference to how hard it is to win in this league before citing Michael Jordan.
There's no question about that. honestly, It's not really even in the consciousness of my mind about that sort of thing. You know, I just know, you know, look at, you know, Chris was highly sought after when he came here. It was a great indication of this organization that he wanted to come here because he could have gone anywhere he wanted. You know, he's been executive the year before, and you guys can try to diminish him all you want, but that's just your words. They have no substance to it because there's no truth in it. I mean, the guy's a winner, and he's been immensely successful. You know, no one's perfect in this game. We all lose a lot in this league. You know how many shots Michael Jordan's missed? You know how many games Michael Jordan's lost?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't either. Also,
but Michael Jordan had 6 titles with his losses. What do the Colts have?
Well, I will push back. I think
Michael Jordan's didn't play in this league. He played in the National Basketball Association.
Chris Ballard, I think, on the outside looking in, and Colts fans obviously may feel very differently, but we talked about it on the emergency pod earlier. Frank Reich went 40, 33-1.
Yes.
And Chris Ballard had obviously a lot to do with that. And I think if Andrew Luck hadn't retired, this is a different conversation. This is the same conversation that you have when Tom Brady leaves Bill Belichick.
Sure.
I mean, so I get what on some level.
Michael Jordan, by the way, won 69% of his games with the Bulls, 639 and 291.
Yeah, we should all know that, I suppose. My bad. But my point is that I get on some level what Irsay's saying, but I do also understand the frustration that Colts fans have had for quite some time now. Hey, Breech, let me ask you this. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this press conference, every single moment of it. People on Twitter were angry about the circus atmosphere and all that. I loved it. Should Colts fans be angry, ambivalent, feel better or worse about their team after that talking to?
Well, I mean, you already knew what you had in Jim Irsay, so it's not like you had him up on this pedestal and was like, oh my God, he's tanking the franchise.
Right. It wasn't
this is
Abraham
a guy
Lincoln.
who spent $5 billion on random autographed guitars on auctions every weekend. So it's not like if that is a reason to worry, that's when you're worrying. But I don't think, there's nothing they could have done as far as a hire goes to make you feel like, oh, this team's going to turn around and make it the playoffs. But it is a little weird that, look, the Colts are in second place in their division. Their season isn't over. This isn't your normal firing. So you would think, hey, we could bring somebody qualified in. And, maybe Jeff Saturday ends up being a great coach. But if you're still in it, and the Colts are more in it than any team that's ever fired a coach in the NFL, and they still have a shot, and they bring in a guy with no experience.
They have zero shot. Number one, the Titans are in that division. We discussed that yesterday.
We did. No, yes, we all agree the Titans are the best team in that division. I'm just saying the Colts are in second place. And
give me a percentage on them sneaking in as a 7th seed or better if you're optimistic in the AFC.
9%.
That's way too high. Are you taking the over or under that, Brinson?
I'm under.
9%. Are you crazy? Are you smoking what Zach Taylor's smoking?
I'm smoking what Jim Irsay is smoking.
Oh, well, then it's 99%.
I'm trying to find the let's see all the playoff odds.
You know what? How about 0.9%? That's what I said.
Yeah, so here's the thing.
I didn't move the decimal.
If they elevated John Fox
5% according to 538.
Oh, see, I was only 4% off. Thank you.
You were
50, literally double.
Yes, you were off by 50%.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Brinson, I'll ask you this because you were our resident conspiracy theorist. Is this the example of Jim Irsay saying the quiet part out loud by bringing in Jeff Saturday and saying we're quitting, we're tanking for whoever the quarterback is we love, and then we're leaning into it like we're not doing it secretly?
I actually don't. I know
you're a very mysterious man. Go ahead. I can't wait to hear this.
I think that Jim Irsay, and I would have thought that before. I don't think Jim Irsay would want Jeff Saturday. I think he doesn't want him to be bad. I think he wants him to win some games. I think he wants to hire him full time.
And in Jeff Saturday's defense, he seemed like people say great things about him. He doesn't have any experience, but he's supposed to be a great leader and all that. So that's good.
Yeah. I think Irsay wants to. I think it's like I mentioned this before. I think it's like the Wisconsin setup where they fired Paul Chryst and they promoted Jim Leonard, who the former Wisconsin player, defensive coordinator, up and coming.
But he had experience,
right? But I'm saying it's like a I think it's Barry Alvarez still the maybe somebody else is the AD, but anyway, the AD loves Jim Leonard, wants to hire him, doesn't want him to get stolen away. Got rid of Paul Chryst early. I think this is a case of Irsay's like, okay, I want to bring in Jeff Saturday. If he's any good, we'll win a couple of games. If he's terrible, will end up, tanking. Like, I don't think Jim Irsay is a rational actor right now.
I don't think this is like Jim Leonard, though, because Jim Leonard was well respected as a coach. Now, Jeff Saturday is well respected as a person, but he's been coaching high school.
Yeah, he has zero experience as a coach at the college or NFL level.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm just saying that I think in the instance, I'm not comparing the two candidates. I'm saying in the instance, I think Irsay wants to hire Jeff Saturday full time. And the only way he can justify it is if Jeff Saturday comes in and like the Colts look competent and try hard for the final 8 games of the season.
Well, there's still the Rooney Rule that he has to comply with. So
he can just interview 2 minorities and then hire Jeff Saturday. I mean,
let me ask you this: if Jeff Saturday's name was Jerome Saturday, you think he's getting this opportunity?
I do not.
Just wondering. That just popped into my head.
I mean,
no. Knows the question. Jonathan Jones actually tweeted out earlier on Monday. He texted the coach about his thoughts on the hire, and the coach sent back a photo of like this minority coaching fellowship of 50 black guys standing on and bleachers getting a picture taken for this NFL sort of opportunity. And here comes Jeff Saturday moonwalking into the building as the interim coach. And at the end of the day, whatever, it is what it is. But here we are.
I think it helps you. So the Texans got crushed for trying to hire Josh McCown, rightfully so.
This feels like a
Rudy Rule trying to hire Josh McCown.
And Josh McCown is supposed to be a solid dude as well, and maybe a great coach. But it
really,
feels
really
like,
nice guy.
Feels like a similar situation for sure.
But this is the only way you can get Jeff Saturday in there to like. This is the only way you can get him in the building by bypass the Rudy Rule, get him in the building, let him coach and see how he does, and then potentially hire. Like if they go 4-4, even 2-6, but they try hard and they look okay. He can. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. It's his team. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's one of those two things. I don't think he's firing Frank Reich and hiring Jeff Saturday thinking this guy's going to get us to the playoffs this year.
What do you think he was thinking? Because it was hard to discern from the press conference.
I don't think he's thinking correct. Like
Irsay or Saturday?
Irsay. What's Irsay thinking?
Okay.
What's his plan? What's Irsay's plan? Is my question.
I think he's impatient and fed up, and this Carson Wentz thing is like messing with his brain. And
do you think he's a better owner than David Tepper? I think he's a better owner than David Tepper.
I think he's a luckier. I think he's had more fortune with quarterbacks.
Yeah, luck in the Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck.
Fair enough. Okay.
Because he's like, I hired Bruce Arians as my interim coach. How'd that work out? He won a Super Bowl later. It's like he didn't win a Super Bowl for you.
Oh, did he actually say that during the press conference?
And it's like, he was like the offensive coordinator.
He had 40 years of experience.
You just promoted your coach got cancer, and you promoted the offensive coordinator got promoted by the GM to the head coach.
And he had 40 years of experience prior to that, in terms of an NFL.
Yeah,
well, and that's the other thing about this. Besides obviously the minority hiring part and Irsay just doing whatever the hell he wants to get Jeff Saturday in there. But how do you feel if you're Gus Bradley or John Fox, a former head coach,
or Reggie
on
Wayne,
the coaching staff,
a former Colts legend with more experience than Jeff Saturday?
And now you're taking orders from a guy who was coaching high school football last week. How's the coaching staff going to feel about that?
So they're not.
What?
Are they on their bye or not? I haven't checked their schedule.
No, for the Raiders,
they
play Josh McDaniels.
So let me ask you this.
Jeff Saturday tweeted the Raiders stink a week ago.
Oh, that's right. He did. So it's, the press conference at 8:00 on Monday, November 7th. They have a game this Sunday. He said during the press conference, Jeff Saturday did, that I'm talking with the coaching staff, haven't talked with the defensive staff yet, to interview who's going to be calling the plays. Typically, the game plan is ready to go by Tuesday. So
he said tonight he was going to make a decision tonight. And then go.
So someone's got to pull an all-nighter to get the game plan together, and then they're going to be calling plays. All right.
If it wasn't the Raiders, it'd be so easy to hammer like just whoever they were playing.
Okay, that's wild, man. It's fun.
They literally play a game. They're going to wake up tomorrow morning with a game in 5 days, and the play caller has never called plays before.
Let me ask you another question. What happens?
I bet it's Reggie Wayne or Scotty Montgomery is my guess.
What happens if the Colts win like 35-0? Do you have to fire Josh McDaniels?
Oh yeah. They won't, but yes.
I think there's a chance. Yeah, I actually think there's a chance he might be like John Fox is calling plays. I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh. What if Josh McDaniels gets fired because he lost to Jeff Saturday in Jeff Saturday's first game?
And
If
John
you
Fitz.
get out coached by a guy who was literally coaching high school football last week, you cannot keep your job. Like, what
Especially
are we talking about?
especially after you ended up in that job because you pulled out of the Colts job, and the guy
There's
who
your
got fired
revenge
actually
game angle.
replaced you.
There's your revenge game, Brinson.
And like, you have the Colts have a backup quarterback. They just fired their coach. They have an interim coach. They don't have an offensive coordinator. They're in total disarray. If the Raiders cannot beat this team, then the Raiders might not win any more games, and you just get rid of McDaniels now.
Hey, Breech, let's say that 2 years from now, Joe Burrow gets traded to the Steelers and wins a bunch of Super Bowls, and the Bengals are a one-win team in the middle of the season, and the owner comes to you and says, call out of the blue, like, hey, do you want to coach the Bengals? And I'm just trying to play out the Jeff Saturday thing. Jeff Saturday has to talk to his wife and his son. Are you going to talk to Rachel and your daughter and think about it? Or are you just going to say, absolutely not, this is idiotic?
Jeff Saturday did play a little more football than Breech, but
This is
But
true.
he can't
I
throw
would-
the football as far as Breech. Let's be honest.
I mean, it's if you were to call any former NFL player, what if Mike Brown called my dad?
Yeah, what do you call Jim Breech?
Same amount, almost the same amount of NFL experience as Jeff Saturday.
Boomer Esiason, like
Well, yeah, I mean, Well, I mean,
Boomer's never coached, right? I mean,
I like the
Yeah.
Jim Breech angle better.
Because
you know what?
it's-
I'm just saying, like I'm saying, but like Boomer's in the media, and
right. I mean, whatever. You're just calling somebody random up, and it's just, I don't know that they would be comfortable taking the job.
I wonder how you got the sense that Jeff Saturday felt uncomfortable sitting next to Irsay while he was saying the words that he was saying. When Saturday spoke, it made a lot more sense. Like it
if
felt
Jim
like
Irsay hadn't talked, the press conference would have been
it
fine.
would have been fine. That's right. It wouldn't have been. I thought it was fine either way. I enjoyed it. It wouldn't have been as entertaining. But I think, as people noted afterwards, you'd have felt better about it because Saturday he's charismatic, whether he has experience or not.
And he also didn't like bluff in the way that Jim Irsay did. Where Irsay's like, I've won all this stuff. Like he's like, I've never hired a losing coach. He's like, well, why did you just fire Frank Reich? Like you did, like you're bragging about hiring a guy you just fired? He's like, Bill Polian's been fired twice. It's just people get fired in this league. And Saturday got there and was like, listen, he's like, of course. He's like, I'm gonna have to earn the respect of the people in the locker room. I'm gonna have to earn the respect of the coaching staff. I understand that. I don't have experience. Like he was at least honest about it,
I'm going to completely date myself here, but he was Admiral Stockdale. He was the vice presidential running mate for Ross Perot back in '92, I think, who did it. Who had at the debate said, "Who am I? Why am I here?" And that sort of felt like Jeff Saturday having to explain himself. Like, wait, why are you on the?
The actual quote, he said he looked at Jim Irsay and he said, "Why am I a candidate for this?"
Yeah, I mean, he is Admiral Stockdale. For my listeners from the late '80s, early '90s.
Peyton Manning said he didn't find out about it till Adam Schefter tweeted about it.
Adam Schefter before or after he put his shirt on for doing the Kirk Cousins
What
dance.
was that?
Shirtless Adam Schefter.
Any other thoughts from the Jeff Saturday press conference?
No, that was fun. I look forward to this game, and part of me, I don't know, Brinson, do you have in front of you the spread for the Colts Raiders?
It was 6 points when I was putting together my picks about 3 hours ago.
In Las
Vegas. Raiders favored by 6 in Las Vegas.
I bet it's 7.5 now, and I'm gonna bang the Colts all day long on that.
Really?
Oh my God.
It is still 6. Hadn't moved.
Yeah.
The under 42.5.
The Jeff Saturday hiring didn't shock the books into
That's how bad
moving the spread.
Josh McDaniels is.
I mean, seriously, right?
Holy Moses. All right, yeah, that was fun.
All right, let's take a break. Then when we come back, we'll talk about the Monday Night Football game next.
First game.
Yes, there was a game breach. Indeed. A game that was won by the Ravens 27-13. Not a particularly good game.
Hey, Brinson, let me ask you a question. Did you think, as the press conference was going on in prime time, that would have an effect on the primetime Dalton effect and lessen it?
Because nobody was paying attention to the game, and Andy Dalton's like, they should have piped the Jim Irsay press conference into the stadium. And so Andrew Bernard,
Yeah, what's his middle name, Breach?
Coughlin Dalton would have been able to.
Who? Luck or Dalton?
Andy. What's Andy's middle name?
Oh, Andrew Gregory Dalton.
Gregory, yeah. He still stinks, it turns out, Breach.
You know what's funny is that
run the ball got absolutely gashed by the Ravens. The Ravens, Dennis Allen said that the Ravens had the ball for 40 minutes. I was going to check and confirm that. 37-47 to 22-13. 319 yards to 243. They ran 65 plays to 49 plays. The Saints defense just couldn't take any more of it, and eventually was just getting gashed by Kenyon Drake in the run game. 24 carries, 93 yards for Kenyon Drake, 2 rushing touchdowns. Lamar had 11 carries for 82 yards. Nothing they could do to stop them. This was not a particularly close game. 14-0, and it never really got any closer.
All right, Breech, I want to hear your defense. Anthony Bartolucci asked in the comments, how would Jameis be worse than this?
Jameis would have thrown 3 interceptions instead of 1, and the game would have been over by halftime.
Well, the game was over by halftime.
By halftime, yes.
Well, right. So it would have been over. It would have been more over.
More over by halftime.
Instead of,
That's a hell of a defense.
It was 14-3 at halftime, and it was not.
I mean, I'll be honest. I thought they should have stuck with Taysom Hill just because of the way the Ravens defense was playing.
Yeah,
and Taysom was way more athletic, and it felt like he was finding these little gashes, and they were moving the ball when he was in there.
Andy Dalton, there were like several times where he got hit like really, really hard, and he was under pressure a bunch. I didn't think that he was. I mean, and
please don't say what you're about to say.
Am I wrong? I mean,
even Breech is like, don't say that about Gregory Dalton.
I defend Dalton all the time. I can't defend him for this game.
I'm not saying he wasn't good. I mean, he was 19-29 for 210, a touchdown and a pick.
Here's what I will say. Marshawn Lattimore didn't play. Bradley Roby's out. Mike Thomas, Jarvis Landry didn't play. Marcus Davenport and Pete Werner left during the game. So they were down a lot. Alvin Kamara did play. Crystal Olave played. But you can't win with 2 superstars and the quarterback. At Andy Dalton's point in his career, fair or not. So I think if they're at full health, I think Breech is right. I mean, Andy Dalton gives you just as much a chance, probably better, perhaps, than Jameis, who was prone to turning the ball over when Sean Payton isn't around. I get all that. But at no point in this game did the Saints have a chance. None. In fact, the touchdown they scored was such a freaking fluke because Marcus Peters and Chuck Clark refused to push Jawan Jennings out of bounds. That they scored, I think it was in the fourth quarter, that touchdown.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes left, and they cut it to a 14-point game.
You guys want to hear a fun fact? So Justin Houston is playing his 6th game. He has 8.5 sacks. The Ravens haven't had a player reach double-digit sacks since 2017.
Crazy. Terrell sucks.
Terrell sucks. That's right. Absolutely.
You want to hear another crazy fact?
I do.
That was Andy Dalton's 10th loss to the Baltimore Ravens. That is the most losses by one quarterback against the Ravens in NFL history.
Number 9, next on the list at 9 losses. You know who that is?
Benjamin Roethlisberger.
You got it. You looked at the same tweet I did, but all right.
No, I have all Andy Dalton stats memorized.
I have a funnier fact for you, Breech.
What?
Fourth quarter, 8.5 minutes to go. Justin, first round pick Tucker, laced a 41-yard field goal. Let's see. How many consecutive field goals has he made in the fourth quarter or overtime with that kick?
42.
It's 60 something. It might be 60, 64.
He cheated once again. It's 64.
Bro, 60 something might be 64.
At least he played it up like
I said 60 or 60. I'm the guy who follows kickers. You don't think I know Justin Tucker's best numbers by heart?
You said it's 60 something, then said maybe 64.
He's such a good liar. He lies so often that he knows how to act like he's not lying.
I know.
No,
you're like
that's a number I would know.
Like you sent a trivia question to your group text, and then the guy who like waited like a couple minutes after Googling was like, maybe. Sounds like maybe 64.
And we literally have 2 commenters who also correctly got it right. So Ryan's question was just weak. Give your question a D.
I have another question then. All right,
challenge me harder next time, Wilson.
Well, then if the challengers did, I mean, it's the challengers. The commenters weren't like maybe 64. They said 64.
Well, I couldn't remember if it was 60 or 64. I knew it was one of the 2.
Shut up. The Ravens are 6-3. How many games this season have they led by 10 or more points?
All of them.
9.
Yeah, Breech one. At least Breech didn't lie that time. And they've lost 3 of those games early in the season. We just couldn't look the Dolphins game, for example. We're like, oh my God, this team is
Dolphins and the Bills. And then what was the other one they lost?
What was the other one, Breech?
They also lost to the New York Football Giants.
Oh yeah,
they were leading by 17 in all those, or double digits in all those games.
10+.
And you know what's crazy though is that I don't think they're going to blow any double-digit leads. The defense looks so much better tonight, and it was just something as simple as adding Roquan Smith. They're getting healthy, and that was the other
playing
thing.
Andy Dalton, who refuses to beat the Ravens, also helps.
Well, right, but they absolutely shut down Alvin Kamara, who had no room to run. He had like 2 nice runs in the entire game.
It was like 10 yards too. I mean,
and that was it though. I mean, they really shut down the Saints. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing you can say is just primetime Andy Dalton. So we don't know for sure that this defense actually improved, but it really felt like they did, and they looked really good.
The pass rush had been improving. Then they added Roquan, and then they brought back, was it Wormley and Tyus Bowser for this game too? I'm not sure they played.
Yeah, no, Bowser was back for sure. So this game sort of falls not necessarily in the middle, but they will have played one game in 23 days. Their bye is coming up. They don't play again until November 20th. That means Mark Andrews gets healthy. That means J.K. Dobbins is closer to getting healthy. And Rashad Bateman's done, but Deshaun Watson played tonight, left with a little hammy. So they're trending in the right direction. And Breech, I think you're right. I think the days of
what
are you talking about, Billy?
No, that's what, because Wilson said he thinks I'm right. We never thought to say that.
Yeah, fair enough. That's the right usage of that.
No, you just said Deshaun Watson, dude.
Oh, Deshaun Jackson. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what? I was like, is there another Deshaun Watson on the Ravens?
Deshaun Jackson. I haven't said Deshaun Jackson's name in so long because he hasn't played, but he tweaked his hammy. Deshaun Watson might have tweaked his hammy tonight too. I don't know, but my point is,
you're basically getting what's today? The 9th,
the 7th, close.
Gosh, you got 13 days between games.
23 days total. You have one game in 23 days when the sandwich in between those that much time off. Yeah, so they got plenty of time. And Mark Andrews didn't play tonight, so he's got 2 weeks to get healthy.
Oh, that's probably why Andrews didn't play. They felt like they could go down there when
Once they found out Andy Dalton was starting, they're like, okay.
Well, it's just like if you feel like you can go down there and win, and like you can give him all that time off, and so he's like, this team should be really healthy. And look, obviously anything can happen when you get to the playoffs, and but this point, like Ravens Eagles feels like I feel like I'm okay with that Super Bowl pick. You know what I'm saying? Like the Ravens look like a team that's trending in the right direction. I think you can make the case that they're
all right. Before you say it, let's do it. Let's rank the top 5 teams in the AFC. Go. Your top 5 teams, not the playoff order. Something stupid Breech would do.
I mean,
do it.
The Bills. I mean, I'm gonna go to Ravens 1.
That's fine. Do what you want.
I was going to asterisk next to the Bills until we know what's up.
Right. I'm not going to say the Bills are 1 until I know what's up with Josh Allen's elbow. Who are you going?
Who are you going to 1?
Ravens 1.
Okay, keep going.
Chiefs 2. Bills 3.
Okay.
Am I missing somebody obvious?
Miami is in the mix.
Miami's 4.
Tennessee, Jets, Chargers,
Tennessee 5.
Bengals are there too.
Bengals are there, yeah.
Bengals aren't. I can't believe the Bengals are 9th right now. Breech, that's crazy. Breech, go ahead, or you want me to
go? Wait, who was Brinson's 5th?
Titans.
The Titans?
Yeah, that's bold. That's bolder than having the Ravens 1
of Tennessee.
Remember,
what's your top 5, Breech?
That's absurd. Well, the Bills thing is really kind of.
I can't put the Bills 1 until I know.
I don't know what to do with them because
I tend to think that the thing with Josh Allen's elbow, where they're like, it's leaning like this is probably more of like it's like their initial reports, and then they're like it's kind of vague, and then Sean McDermott's like, we're still waiting on test. It's pretty. You should know by now.
You've had all day Monday to perform these tests. Like if you go,
maybe the doctor's office was closed today. Breech, you ever think of that?
Any injury this season has been diagnosed by Monday. And so there has not been one.
What are your top 5 teams?
Well, I'm just saying if he's out for a few weeks.
What are your top 5 teams?
I mean,
that changes. All right. What did Brinson say?
Grandma.
All right. Here is my top 5. It is Chiefs.
Okay.
Ravens.
Jeez, Ravens 2.
Bills.
Eyes closed.
Okay.
Bengals. Dolphins.
Okay. All right. So I'm going Chiefs, Bills. I'm not worried about Josh Allen. He's tough. Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Bengals.
Okay. I'd be fine with the Bengals in there instead of the Titans. It's fine.
Ravens, Dolphins.
Titans, I don't. I mean, obviously, don't trust. I mean, you need Ryan Tannehill back.
Yeah.
I think it's a much better team. I mean,
so let's say, top 5. Give me one team out of these 3 that you trust at 6. Jets, Chargers, and Titans.
See, I would take the Titans there.
I take the Titans.
I got to roll with the Chargers just because
Chargers just aren't trustworthy.
I get it. But
Zach Wilson. I mean, look, it's not the Jets. It's not the Jets team.
But Ryan Tannehill isn't back yet either. Ankle's different than the elbow, though. Fair
I
enough.
will say, though, as the official Bengals homer of the podcast, that I think the Ravens not only win the AFC North, but they win it by at least 2 games.
You just saw your Bengals beat that team 42-0 until they let Baker Mayfield score a few points.
I did.
And why are you saying what you're saying?
I just think the Ravens look good. I think they have a much friendlier schedule. You talked about that bye. Coming out of the bye, they get Carolina, Jacksonville, and Denver. That's just.
But they still have to play the Steelers twice.
That's now 5 games right there. Plus, they have
Shut up.
the Falcons and the Browns. They might not play a team that has a winning record until
and the Bengals are haven't won a division game yet.
Bengals are 0-3 in the division.
They're 0-3?
They're 5-1 against non-AFC North opponents.
Holy cow. I didn't realize that. That's fun. That's a fun fact.
But I mean, also, you look at the Bills. The Bills are 0-2 in the division, 6-0 against everyone else.
All right, Breech, you were talking up the Colts' chances. What are the Saints' chances in that terrible division?
Man, they're only 1 game out.
Oh, here we go.
But
they're third in the division, though. They're behind Atlanta.
Yeah, they're only 1 game out.
Jeez.
And they're already
telling me there's a chance.
Absolutely not.
They have a win over the
Breech's voice
Falcons.
got high. He knows he's lying to everyone here.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, the Colts are 0.9%. I would put the Saints at like 12%. I think there is.
Saints are actually 13% to win.
Oh, well done.
10% to make the division, to win the division.
Took the wins over Wilson math model and used it in my head right on the
It
spot.
worked.
Buccaneers are 61% to win the division. Falcons 26, Saints 10. This is via 538.
If the Saints
Panthers-
get healthy, all those guys get healthy, and they play only 1 p.m. or 4:25 p.m. games, I think that's right.
And
They-
guess what?
they
One
done?
quick note on the South is that the Atlanta Falcons have the second easiest schedule based on current win-loss record. And the Ravens have the easiest remaining schedule.
David McNichols wants to know, does anyone in the NFC South finish with a winning record?
I'm going to go no. I don't know what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule is remaining, but that game that we watched on Sunday against the Rams, I think Breech, you described it as a preseason. Someone described it as a preseason game, is what it felt like.
Bucks get the Seahawks in Germany, bye week, and then they get the Browns in Cleveland with no Deshaun still, obviously. Saints at home, at 49ers.
Oh, boy.
Bengals at home, at Cardinals, Panthers at home, at Falcons.
I'll best case, they win 4 games.
The Falcons only have 1 game left against a team that has a winning record. The other 6 games, all against teams with losing records.
So I think Tampa Bay gets to 8 wins.
I think Tampa Bay could win 6 of those games.
Can the Falcons get to 9? They have the Panthers, the Steelers, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Commanders,
That's
Bears.
It's going to be close.
It's just
I'm
gotta
going to.
win 5.
I don't know.
I think the Buccaneers can win 6 of those games.
I don't know if there are odds up on Caesars about this division finishing 500 or below. I'm guessing it's minus money, but I would take that bet.
8 and 9 would get it. And finally,
MVP up.
a division winner. It's been a while since we've seen. I think there's only been 3 division winners in NFL history. That
Lamar down to 9-1 to an MVP now. Interesting.
I think the St. Louis Rams did it. Did the Seahawks do it? No, they
the
were
Seahawks
wild.
did it. They went 7-9. The Panthers did it. They went 7-8-1.
I think the St. Louis Sam
You
Bradford.
know, it's crazy
Rams
if
did it.
I'll tell
Lamar
you who's an interesting MVP candidate right now.
Oh God, I
Tua.
Tua's
Tua's 20-1. I was gonna say Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. He's not.
100.
And you know, this is
101.
Brinson, Brian Jay's comment here that just came up, because this is kind of the point you were trying to make last night, is that the Bucks in the playoffs with the losing record would be favored against most teams. That's Brian Jay's comment. And Brinson, that's kind of you were saying last night. If you put Tom Brady in the playoffs and with his experience, there's no reason you can't win a few games.
There's a lot of reasons based on everything we've seen so far this season.
I'm just saying that like that sort of game against the Rams could spark something with this offense. Maybe it gets rolling. I don't know. I don't
Hope is not a plan.
It's not hope. I mean, I don't.
All right, let's play this out.
Actually, I can tell you. I actually tell you. Let's see. So the Buccaneers win total, adjusted win total. Oh, the Eagles adjusted win total 14.5. The Panthers adjusted win total is 4.5.
Yikes.
Bucks is 8.5.
So they're right there.
So let's see. I'm just thinking like if you do, and then the
So let's just play this out, though. So let's say the Buccaneers win the division. They'll probably be the 4th seed. I don't think we'll disagree on that. So the 4th seed plays who, Breach? The 5th seed? Is that how it works?
They play the 5th seed, so you're probably looking at, obviously, a 2nd place team. Right now, that would be the Cowboys.
Right.
If the season ended today. You don't think the Buccaneers could, or the Giants are also 6-2, so could maybe.
Well, as we sit here, the Cowboys are 5th. So the Cowboys come to Tampa Bay. That's the Cowboys are favored in that game. Am I correct or no? In January?
Yeah, the Cowboys.
Okay, I'm just
Cowboys at Tampa in January
in the wild card round. Yes,
maybe
like -2, -2.5.
I think probably maybe a pick.
Let's say it's Buccaneers Giants. Are you betting on Tom Brady or are you betting on Daniel Jones?
That's different. But
that's what I'm asking.
yeah, that's right. I would bet on. What's that spread going to be? The spread's going to be a sucker spread, though. I think
they don't have a spread because it's too absurd.
I think it's like -4, and I'm taking the Giants at -4. And -4, what are you taking? AFC, NFC wildcard round. New York in Tampa Bay.
Probably the Giants.
The Bucks.
At -4, you're taking the Bucks?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good spread if you split us up.
Yeah, I'm good.
Did you say Giants?
Oh, me and Breach are taking the Giants all day long. Brian Dable versus the guy who said it's dark times.
Let's see who comes out of the darkness.
Yeah.
Somebody that's another question. Never mind. Buccaneers are -220 to win the NFC South. Falcons +320. Saints 6-1. The Panthers are 60-1. You can't bet on the Panthers, but man, 60-1 in that, like, I don't know.
60-1, and you're only 2 games out of first place.
Yeah, I mean, your adjusted win total is 4.5. Like, that's
not great.
But you're 2-1 in the division.
Please stop with that, Breach. I mean, I don't know where this road ends. Almost certainly in a Thelma Louise situation.
The playoffs with the Panthers.
It ends over the cliff is where it ends.
So the Panthers play the Panthers play this Thursday against the Falcons. Then they get mini bye Ravens at the Ravens, with the Ravens coming off that 21-day or whatever rest. Broncos at home at the Seahawks, Steelers at home, Lions at home. I mean,
let me mention quickly.
There's a path.
No, there's not.
There's a path.
Let me go back to the game quickly. Billy mentioned this and we didn't see it. Late in the game, there was a stretch right before that field goal that I talked about, the Justin Tucker kick that made it 64, that number that you guessed magically breached in a row, fourth quarter overtime. There was a 3-play stretch where Lamar had to call timeout and yelled at Ronnie Stanley. They barely got the snap off, and Isaiah Luckley batted the ball in the air, was almost intercepted. And then the next play was botched as well. And he came off yelling at his offensive line. Do you take anything away from that?
You mentioned that he threw the ball at somebody's butt.
Oh yeah, that's what happened. That's right. There was a
he spiked the ball and it jumped up at his right guard.
Yeah, he was upset because Tyler Linderbaum didn't give him the ball quickly enough. Anyone care about that?
It's crazy how frustrated he got on. When Tom Brady yells at his guys like that, it's on the sideline when they're sitting down.
But it was the third freaking time.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is that he did this on the you got to call.
And Lamar doesn't usually do that either. Like
right.
Yeah, he's usually
out of character.
Yeah, I will say he was asked about it after the game, and he said, "Look, nah, that's not a thing at all." He's like,
"Oh, he was asked." Okay.
Yeah, he was like, no. He's like, we all get hyped up. Ronnie yelled at me. I yelled at him. Maybe he said I shouldn't have spiked the ball, but he's like, no, we're all good. We love each other. We're tight. Everything's cool.
It was basically a Jeff Saturday, Peyton Manning situation is what you're saying.
Right. So I don't take away a ton from it in that sense, just because I just thought it was weird to see Lamar kind of freak out, but it's like.
I thought it was that weird, or was it weirder that they continued not to get the plays in on time?
Yeah, I think it was maybe it was just overall general, just sort of, what the hell, guys? Because
that's what I felt like.
And maybe he's mad at Greg Roman. Maybe mad at people who are false starting. It did feel like the Ravens had a chance to just completely close out the game, and those little mistakes were forcing them to sort of take these field goals and allow the Saints to hang around. And I think maybe the frustration even for Lamar wasn't about the false starts themselves, but the fact that if you score a touchdown there, the game is over, and you're not going to have to worry about these comeback. People coming back from 17 points against you, or double digits against you.
Yeah,
and when you've already blown 3 double-digit leads, everybody's kind of playing puckered up. Here we go again.
Yeah,
don't do this.
Right. Yeah, I think it was more frustration with the sidelines for not getting things in order after the third time in a row.
All right. That'll do it for us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. For Breech.
Thank you for being a friend.
I'm Brinson. Smash that like button. Talk to you guys later.